One of my constant messages to you is to ignore the noise, focus, and pay attention to the things that really matter. There's a lot of noise this week. There's a lot of squealing about the crackdown operations from ICE. The Epstein files controversy has raged. And in the middle of all of this noise comes what many believe to be an act of sedition, an act of treason. How about a real insurrection? If you've got members of a political party banding together to urge members of the military to refuse orders that cabal of Democrats disagree with, you think that's an insignificant event? When I first saw this video, I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my ears. I thought this can't really be happening. I get they've done everything they can to defy Trump. Everything possible. Get rogue judges to try to rule against common sense propositions. Impeach him. Arrest him, indict him, shoot him. Do whatever you can to stop him. I never thought I'd live to see the day where a group of Democrat lawmakers with military backgrounds would release a video urging service members to refuse orders. Here's the video.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Now, of course, the issue that they're hyperventilating about is the lawful mass deportation effort that the courts have repeatedly ruled is completely legitimate. There is an unbelievable response. I saw Sean Hannity last night on Fox News, and he doesn't often channel this kind of anger, but he's as angry as the rest of us.
It should shock the conscience and soul of every American. Article 2, Section 2 of our Constitution is very clear. Quote, the president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of our country, the USA. Not Congress, not a former CIA officer, not a former astronaut, not Elise Slotkin. It is not just inappropriate for these Democrats to try and undermine President Trump's sole authority constitutionally as commander-in-chief. It is unlawful. A brazen act of subversion against our country. They appear to want a military coup in our country to take place. At this point, these Democrats, they might as well try to breach the walls of the White House and break down the doors like their radical supporters did all throughout the summer of love during the rioting in the summer of 2020 that they said were mostly peaceful. Now, this may sound dramatic to our detractors, but think about how we got here. Never mind the Russia hoax, the Mueller witch hunt, the bogus impeachments. In 2024, Democrats tried to throw Trump in prison. Why? To prevent him from becoming president. They raided his own home. They ripped through the First Lady's closet, his son's bedroom. A few months later, a deranged Trump hater came within 1 millimeter of taking Donald Trump's life. A short time after that, another would-be assassin somehow got within range to make another attempt at Trump's life. Now, in his second term, the president has worked hard to fulfill his stated campaign promises, everything that he ran on, full transparency, incredible access within the bounds of our federal republic, and yet the rage on the left now is at an all-time low, getting worse every single day.
You know, you could disagree all day long with the deportation effort that Americans
senators
voted for.
And members.
You could disagree all day long with the blowing up of the narco-terrorists, which, again, the courts have, there's no legal basis for saying that's an unlawful order. For a group of Democrats using their positions of authority to urge members of the military to defy orders is beyond shocking. It's beyond appalling. It's beyond unforgivable. And I don't look, I have to say that if those 6 Democrats were treated the way many of the January 6ers were treated, if they got rounded up and arrested, this crap would go away. This crap would end immediately. And I'll be really blunt with you. I'm shaken by this. I've never seen anything like it. I thought nothing could shake us anymore. They shot him. They indicted him. They came up with 39 bogus felony convictions out of a stupid expired misdemeanor. But this is as bad as it gets. 800-655-MIKE. I got to turn to you. Got a lot of people that are waiting to talk about this on our phone lines, and I promise you're coming up next. 800-655-6453, because I am absolutely blown away by this. Your voice, your call, your perspective here in the Relief Factor Studios for a Wednesday coming up. You know what ordinary Americans say when this kind of stuff happens? Where's the Republican response? I mean, look, you saw this week Bill and Hillary Clinton are refusing to answer to their subpoena, their lawful subpoena. Last time I checked, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro went to jail for doing the very same thing. Are they going to arrest Bill and Hillary? What's going to happen to these 6 Democrats? Anything? This is the problem we're all witnessing, is a total and complete abdication of accountability. All right, let's go. Your calls, 800-655-MIKE. Cybercrime spikes during Black Friday. Next week, of course, Thanksgiving week. Hope you've got great plans with friends and family. I do. Hope you do as well. But you better protect yourself, because cybercrime goes through the roof during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You need to protect yourself with something called WebRoot Total Protection. This is a real important reminder for you, because WebRoot is the all-in-one cybersecurity identity protection solution. And I'm going to get you 60% off for a limited time when you go to webroot.com/MikeG. Listen to all the benefits you get with having your devices protected. Real-time antivirus, firewall, a web threat shield to block malicious sites, a password manager, a system optimizer, a VPN, and identity protection that includes up to $1 million in reimbursement if you get your identity stolen. You got to have WebRoot Total Protection, not just for the holidays, but all the time. They're all in one product, one identity, up to 5 devices. For families, up to 10 identities, 10 devices. And I'm going to get you 60% off right now. Go to webroot.com/MikeG. 60% off. WebRoot Total Protection. It's a must for anybody with a smartphone or a computer. Webroot.com/MikeG for 60% off. We'll start with John in Pittsburgh. Hey, John, welcome back. How are you?
Okay. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
There was one senator that opposed the 6 or 7 others, and his name was Lindsey Graham. He was on Sean Hannity's show last night. He was absolutely enraged.
Livid.
At what they did in full view of the American people. And he said he was going to write a letter today telling them to name the crimes or orders.
Yeah, what's the unlawful order, John? What's the unlawful order?
Exactly.
Now you got to know perspective. Here's Lindsey. I'll play him for you. I mean, here's the perspective that they left out. The context that's missing from their stupid video that has already been viewed millions of times. Slotkin and her colleagues have been spending the last few weeks introducing legislation to attempt to limit Trump's ability to deploy the National Guard. Here's Lindsey Graham last night on Sean Hannity on Fox News.
I don't think I've ever been on a show more unnerving than tonight. You've got United States senators and members of the House suggesting to our men and women in the military that they should be disobeying unlawful orders issued by President Trump and his military. I was a military lawyer for 33 years. I was a prosecutor, defense attorney, and a military judge. And if you're listening to this program tonight, I find no evidence that President Trump or anyone in your chain of command has issued an unlawful order to you. To the people who made these accusations, I'm going to write you a letter tomorrow, and I want you to tell the country what orders you think are unlawful. What did President Trump do wrong as Commander-in-Chief? You owe that to the men and women of the military to be specific about what you're talking about. If you're in the military, you need to follow the lawful orders of your commanders. And Article 92, check it out. So what these senators and House members did was unnerving, and it was unconscionable to suggest that the President of the United States is issuing unlawful orders without giving an example. The hatred of Trump cannot spill over to putting our men and women in the military in jeopardy. You're going too far.
It sounds like a call for insurrection, and you're correct. They did not identify a single example.
Please identify
that is
the
chilling.
order in question.
They can't.
Well, they
can't.
should, because they're suggesting they exist. They're suggesting that men and women in the military, you should disobey unlawful orders. Tell me an example of an unlawful order that exists under the Trump administration. I want to see what you're talking about, and I'll give you my opinion.
Well,
the reason they didn't say anything is because there is none.
That's the answer to the question. The answer to the question is there aren't any unlawful commands being issued to our members of the military, and they know it. Senator Eric Schmidt, the Republican from Missouri, said at the end of the day, they're mad that the American people chose Trump. And now they're calling on the military and the intelligence community to intervene. Sounds a little subversive to democracy-ish to me. You think? Brett's in Columbus, Ohio. Hello, Brett.
Thank you. I agree it's a despicable ad, but there's a thin line between lawfully encouraging people of their rights and unlawfully encouraging them to commit sedition. And the military must know, as Lindsey Graham just said, that if they disobey a lawful order, they're going to be facing a military prosecution, which is far different than a civilian prosecution.
Exactly.
So, I think it's a much ado about nothing, except that these senators and congressmen should be called to account for this despicable ad.
Right, and it's not, and with all due respect, it's not much ado about nothing. To have this, these aren't six podcasters in their basement, Brett. These aren't people. These are members of the United States Senate. These are members of the United States House of Representatives, urging members of the military, in many cases 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, to face a court-martial for defying the orders and the commands that they receive. Look, Brett, I appreciate your perspective very much. The Democrats, these six Democrats, hope that people will say it's much ado about nothing. This is not much ado about nothing. I take great exception to that, and every American should. This has crossed the line, as Lindsey Graham said, beyond. Look, I didn't think anything could shock me. I watched them try to kill this guy. I watched them assassinate a colleague and a friend. I've watched them arrest the guy who has been the two-time rightfully elected president of the United States, and now they want the military to ignore the commander-in-chief's orders? Are you kidding me? This is infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. So you can make all the noise you want about ICE is now in New Orleans, and you can squawk and worry about what's going to happen with the Epstein thing, and I don't know what's going to happen. The whole thing gives me a headache. I have no idea why for years Democrats sat on the Epstein files until now, right? Wink, wink. Well, we know why. They got their butts whipped on the government shutdown, and they went to the crap file, and they pulled out Epstein, and they said, let's see if this will stick. Let's try this. Now the Epstein thing will peter out, and then they'll move on to the narco-terrorists. And let's try to stop that. They are desperate. They are broken. They are so pathetic.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.